Every time I get a little down, every time I get filled with anxiety, somebody comes along and lifts me up, reminding me of how blessed I am to be in this position at this job. Richard from Louisville sent me an email, and I want to read the email to you with all what we're facing right now. And people are worried, people are stressed, people are frustrated. Ilhan Omar won last night in Minnesota. I had somebody contact me from her district, a Republican named Jane, who said, yeah, I didn't vote because I didn't like the candidate that they had on the table 2 years ago. And I couldn't believe my ears. Republicans in that open primary had a chance to fire this vicious bigot, Ilhan Omar. And instead, she gets to have another term. The media is pretending that Kamala Harris can detach herself from the Biden-Harris agenda. I mean, it's the crazy. We are witnessing one of the biggest pranks. I mean, it's beyond a joke. It's like it's a prank. We're being punked. You ever see the TV series Ashton Kutcher used to have called Punked, where it was like a practical joke? This is like a giant practical joke. Axios is saying, well, you know, the inflation numbers are coming down. This is great timing for Kamala Harris, and her no taxes on tips plan is actually better than Trump's no taxes on tips plan. She was the deciding vote that unleashed the IRS to go after waiters and waitresses so that their tips would be taxed. And now she's pretending that she doesn't think it's a good idea. All of a sudden now it is so depressing. And so, and more than a little scary that the media would whore itself out the way it is. They are prostituting themselves all in the service of Kamala Harris, a woman who now 23 days into the coup, and she is part of the coup, no way around that. 23 days in, she has yet to sit down with a single reporter. And Nikki Haley goes on TV and says, oh, don't worry about stuff like that. Don't worry about her crowd size or her refusal to talk to the American people. Here's how Trump needs to campaign. And people are saying, yeah, Nikki's right. Oh, Nikki's right. You don't want me opening up the phone lines to hear from South Carolinians about how right Nikki Haley is. You know, I was always convinced she would step down from the presidential race, but she would be a bitter reminder that she wanted to be president. She wanted to be the nominee. And the American people said no. And there's Nikki making all this. I'll play the clips for you if you can stand it. Oh, Trump needs to stop with focusing on crowd size and Nikki Haley. And Kamala Harris. We need to talk policy. What do you think he's doing, Nikki? What do you think he spent 2 hours doing with Elon Musk, getting over 1 billion views? 1 billion with a B. They pretend that didn't happen. There's a narrative going on here. There's an agenda that people are marching to. And we got a whole lot. Look, I don't want to be down. I want to be upbeat. And again, you have the ability to lift me up whenever I'm down. And I'm feeling good again. South Carolina text. Mike, don't be sad. We are on the winning team. And don't forget, no matter what happens, the Lord is there for us. Thank you, South Carolina. Great point from Columbia. And here's a text from Louisville, or an email from Louisville that I want to share with you. Mike, today's my 68th birthday. My heart is so saddened on what should be a day of celebration. I never envisioned my country being on the brink of turning into a socialist nightmare. I hope and pray the voters of this country realize that by choosing the wrong path on November 5th, that the America that has given us such a wonderful life will be so damaged that it may never recover. Like you, I put my hope and my faith in God to save us. Have a great day, and God bless America. Well, Richard, happy birthday, and thank you for reminding me about what matters. Let's remember what's important. And God's got this. We have to have faith. A month ago, Donald Trump was on the floor of a stage in Butler, Pennsylvania, with blood streaming down the side of his face. It was such a monumental moment, his near-death experience and the near assassination, the near murder of this man. It was such a moment that the Democrats said, we don't stand a chance with Joe Biden. So we're going to take him out with the garbage. We're going to kick that old man to the curb. And we're going to pretend that Kamala Harris is hope and change. She's Barack Obama in a pantsuit. That's their whole strategy. Hasn't gotten a single vote. Was part of a coup that historians are going to be amazed by in 100 years from now. They're going to look at that and they're going to say, wow, they pulled that off? They really pulled that off? Look, this is no joke. There is a serious threat to the United States of America. And we got to get off of our butts and we got to get engaged. If you haven't been to TrumpForce47.com, you go to that site where you can be involved with yard signs, with making phone calls, with being a part of the process that will save this country. If you text the number 47 to 800-655, Mike will send you back the link. I mean, these headlines in the media, Los Angeles Times, Kamala's no tax on tips plan is actually better than Trump's plan. She stole it from Trump because she went to Las Vegas and she's got a deal with voters who realize Trump is better for them than she is. Oh, she's embracing a new Kamala, says Axios. Oh yeah, sure, she's flip-flopped on all of her core positions like fracking and the border and the economy, but that's okay. She's learned from her 3 years in the White House. She's gotten better. If the Republicans try to stunt like the Democrats are doing right now, the media would be in constant ridicule mode. All of them. The Washington Post, Axios, CBS, NBC, all of them. They'd be mocking Republicans over attempting such a pathetic, desperate, tawdry stunt. And listen, you have to admit, if the poll numbers are right, it's kind of working. Now, I've got faith that August will be Kamala and Tim Walz's month. The Democrats are going to get to enjoy August. Their convention is next week. She'll give a speech that will be well received. They're going to act like it's the greatest thing in the history of America. And then the reality of September and October are going to set in. And we're going to get it back. We'll find out. Welcome aboard. It's Wednesday. We're in the Relief Factor studios. Great to have you here. Thank you. 800-655-MIKE is our number. 800-655-6453. I hope you join us.
Mike Gallagher.
21 minutes past the hour. Just got a text message on the MyPillow text line. I'll bet you Kamala will back out of the September 10th debate. She'll get COVID or something. It seems inconceivable that she's going to be willing to get on a debate stage with Donald Trump. If she can't face Time Magazine or the Washington Post or CNN, all friendly media outlets, if she's not willing to even have a one-on-one with them, how do you think she's anticipating going one-on-one with Donald Trump on September 10th? Nothing would surprise me. Nothing would surprise me. I'm kind of embarrassed and ashamed of myself. I'm actually surprised at how the media has prostituted itself out for Kamala Harris this way. How they have just completely fallen on the sword and said, look, we got to be all in. We got to be all in. I'm reading over at Axios. I mean, if it weren't so sad and if the stakes weren't so high, it would be it would be comedy, completely comical. First, let me do the LA Times. Michael Hiltzik. Kamala Harris's tips policy is better for workers than Trump's is. She steals the idea, and now they're saying, all right, so here's Axios, Mike Allen. Behind the curtain, Vice President Kamala Harris plans a new focus on middle-class worries and woes. Harris will tell Americans, beginning in North Carolina later this week, mostly for the first time, who she is and how she'd govern. For the first time, she's been the vice president for nearly 4 years. She wants to break with Biden on issues on which he's unpopular. I mean, she's reversing on every policy. Axios says a big part of the Harris plan is to unapologetically change some of her more liberal positions and claim her White House experience helped change her mind. Yes, when she was running for president in 2019, she was against fracking. She was against decriminalizing illegal border crossings and for single-payer health care, Medicare for all. No more. She has backed off all three. Oh, my gosh. I mean, how embarrassing that these reporters and journalists are doing what they're doing. Again, if the shoe was on the other foot, if this was a Republican scheme, Axios would be mocking Republicans for such a pathetic, desperate, clearly transparent effort to win at all costs. And I don't know where we're going here. I mean, honest to gosh, Ilhan Omar, I'm a little discouraged because I thought, well, at least Minnesota will join Missouri and New York in firing a rabid anti-Semite. Surely they'll dispatch with Ilhan Omar because in Minnesota it's an open primary. Republicans were allowed to vote, and she had a more moderate challenger who she barely beat first time around. Well, this time she thumped him according to the election results in Minnesota. More important than Minnesota, which for all I can tell, they've just fallen. Minnesota's gone. Under Tim Walz's leadership, the state is just gone. I feel sorry for normal people who live there. I feel sorry for people who are not rabid lefty nuts. There's a lot of kooks and nuts, obviously, in Minnesota, and a lot of anti-Semites, evidently, because she is one. But I want you to remember who Tim Walz is. One of the other big lies they're trying to tell is that Tim Walz is a middle-of-the-road, down-the-middle guy. He's just ordinary, normal American. Now, we could all agree that Ilhan Omar is a rabid, far-left, anti-Semite radical, right? We all know that. We all know who she is. Last night in her victory speech, she claimed that her Democrat opponent was aligned with Nazis, actual Nazis. That's who she is. She is gone, right? She's as far left as it gets. But Tim Walz, the Minnesota governor, he's a middle-of-the-road guy, right? He's normal. He's just middle America. Well, check out what middle-of-the-road stolen valor Tim Walz once said about Ilhan Omar.
Something I'll never get tired of saying, I think all of you, Congresswoman Omar, wonderful. Doesn't that sound? When I'm having a tough day or I'm out on about mile 5 of my run and I'm feeling kind of down and the world's pressing on me, I think Ilhan Omar's a congresswoman, and it just brightens you up, so thank you.
Yeah, lifts your day, middle America. That's middle America for you, huh? Gene in Sacramento, California. Hi, Gene.
Howdy there.
Hey.
Hey, a minute ago or two, you used that expression that Obama came out with, hope and change.
Right.
And that means having overpriced energy and not drilling creates hardships and a no-growth economy.
Well, he helped transform America, didn't he? And she wants to finish the job.
Yep.
Appreciate the call. Sam in Cincinnati. Hi, Sam.
Hey, how's it going, Mike?
Good. How you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Hey, this is not about Republicans or Democrats. It's about good versus evil. And the Democrats the Republicans or the independents, need to change the name of the Democrats. Their real name is Democrats, and everybody knows it.
All right, appreciate it. 800-655-MIKE. Quickly, Matt in Chicago. How you doing, Matt?
I believe the exact same thing your last caller said, Mike. And by the way, I love your show.
Thank you.
We get the leaders we deserve. We are killing over 3 million babies every single year. We have kicked God out of our schools. We have redefined marriage. We have removed God from everything. And I think God is giving us the leaders that we really deserve. We got to turn to God, Mike. We got to turn
You
to
bet.
God.
You bet. And we forget that. We don't say it enough. We don't remind each other about that enough. I try to say it all the time, but I'm sure I fall short. Prayer works. We have to lean into our faith. We got to pray for our country. We got to pray that we get this right because God's got this, and we can't forget it.